Welcome. Welcome back to Alaere Lifestyle TV. Is the music too loud? I think it is. Okay. I always am like, okay, I want the ambiance to be, I want it to be a vibe, but then I'm like, I don't want to be yelling. So, okay, I think that's good. Y'all can still hear it. But anyways, yes, welcome. So while I wait for people to join for today, which is Alaere Book Club, we're still reading You Are a Badass. I know it's been some time, and I have my coffee here. I know it's been some time because I decided it would be best to go live Monday through Wednesday. Hey, Diplomatic Cigar, welcome. Yeah, I know it's been a while. It's been a hot minute. And like why I decided to not go live every weekday is because I'm tired, okay? Like also no, like seriously, I think that being an artist, and business owner, there's so many other things that demand my time and energy, and that's why I was like, let me set apart 2 days to do those things. So of course I want to set an intention for today. Light some Palo Santo before we get the live going, before people start joining and stuff, which I hope today we have a really good conversation, and I hope it's like really high vibrational, and I pray that the people who are meant to be here will be here, and I just pray that God, as usual, will speak through me. Like I feel like it's not necessarily about the numbers and the metrics, which I'm going to talk a little bit about that because I think I'm seeing a lot of creators. Oops, it's so smoky, but yeah, anyways, yeah, my incense is finished. So yeah, like I just pray that God will speak through me, and I pray that this will be a healing and inspirational live today. Okay, so Diplomatic Cigar says, I feel you. Oops. My tiredness is tired of being tired. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I'm tired of being tired. And yeah, so that the intention is for God's presence to be here today, because I think that like everything is energy. And I don't know, the glory of God is just really potent right now. And even though I think there's a lot of like darkness in society right now, there's a lot of war, a lot of inequality, and all of that, I feel like, you know how in that commercial it says Red Bull gives you wings? I feel like faith gives me wings. So yeah, like that's where I am right now. I'm just like, you know what? I gotta stay faithful. I gotta stay, high vibrational. But I think that's actually the subject of today's, yeah, literally, that's the subject of today's chapter in You Are a Badass, the G word. God. And it's funny because I just had a conversation with somebody who is agnostic, and he was just telling me like, yeah, he doesn't really believe in anything. And I never try to like convert people, because I feel like the best way to I guess like share God with people is to just live your life in such a way that people are like, what is that? Like, what is that vibe? Like, why is she like that? Like, why do I feel so good being around this person? And then when they ask me, I'm like, yeah, it's God, okay? So yeah, this is the book we're reading today. But before I start, I want to share something from my book, Force of Nature by Odemi Pasu. And so this is before we read You Are a Badass, okay? And I want to read something from my author's note. Hi, Raka from Indonesia. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Okay, so I want to read something from my author's note before we get started. And I think that this resonates with me right now because I'm such a tree hugger. And why I bring that up is because right now I'm watching in autumn on the East Coast in Atlanta. I'm watching the trees change colors, and I'm watching, nature just go through this cycle. And I talk a lot about divine feminine energy on this channel, and I infuse a lot of that into my artwork. And I feel like for me, whenever I feel a little bit like out of it or tired or just not really excited about life, I look at nature, and I look at trees in particular and the cycles that they go through. And so It grounds me, and I actually just hugged a tree the other day, like legit hugged a tree. It was so beautiful. It was the most beautiful tree ever, and I was just like, wow, we really have free oxygen. Like, I love that. But anyways, so that kind of relates to this excerpt from my book, which y'all can check out on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Waterstones, all these different bookstores. So I wrote, and this is on page 11. I think of my fondness. Also, I'm going to turn up the music a little bit for the ambiance. Again. I think, oh, hold on. I want to make sure. Okay. I think of my fondness for nature and the beauty of the wilderness that surrounds us. Sparrows fly unwittingly, seasons ebb and flow in divine timing. Fires rage while flowers bloom, and dandy shores welcome passionate sunsets promising something familiar yet new. Nothing is controlled, but everything is connected. We can learn so much about ourselves by paying attention to the subtle lessons from Mother Earth. She shows us that every aspect of our beings contributes to the beautiful ecosystem that is our mind. With her guidance, I have learned to embrace the enigmatic parts of myself and bask in life's beautifully crafted chaos. Our earth never begs for permission to exist. She shows us every day what it means to be free. Be it through tree stumps that join hands over time, or the bright smile of the moon and her many phases. Our earth reminds us that it is okay to change and it is okay to grow. But most importantly, it is our natural state to exist freely. That is when we thrive. Okay, so yeah, I've been pondering a lot, okay? So, and I've been up to a lot of cool stuff lately, like modeling more and just doing like, I don't know, just more collaborative things with different artists. And I think it's just reminded me that like this life is meant for living and expansion. And I think that for a lot of creatives right now, we're just like trying to figure out how to, one, stay afloat financially, and how to like keep the creative juices flowing without succumbing to comparison, essentially. And I think that like when you focus on that unique gift that you have within you, that's, I don't know, that's like when you feel free and liberated to keep creating. So yeah, just wanted to share that real quick. But yeah, let's get started on the book because I really do love this book. So just some like background info. You Are a Badass is pretty much a like self-help-ish kind of book. But I did read this book in 2019, back when I was just going through a lot. And I remember I was in grad school, I was working 2 jobs. I was just like really just overwhelmed by life. And this reminded me that I'm powerful. And it reminded me that like I get to decide what I experience in this life. And in terms of like, you know, my emotions and my perception and my perspective. And also that kind of relates to the shirt I'm wearing today. This is in my fashion line, the streetwear side of my wearable art. There's actually art on the back as well. So yeah, like you can check it out on my website. But Ashe means so it is. Like it's kind of like a declaration in Yoruba and in Ifa spiritual tradition that like this, like, how do I explain it? Basically, you know, the word amen, it's kind of like that, and it calls things into being. So yeah, I feel like everything relates back to what we're reading today. So we're on chapter 2 of You Are a Badass, and this is titled The G Word. And this book is by Jen Sincero, and I think she's pretty dope. So let's start reading, and then of course I'll interject with some of my thoughts, and I would love to hear like what resonates with y'all as I read. Okay, so she starts off with a quote by Nikola Tesla, inventor, physicist, super genius. And that quote says, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." I totally agree. Okay, so she says, or she wrote, "When I lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico, my friends and I used to hang out at this Western bar called Midnight Rodeo. It was the kind of place that had curling irons and hairspray in the women's bathroom. Bud Light on permanent special for $2 a can, and a solid oak dance floor the size of a cornfield. We were all from the East Coast and were way too cool for country music, so at first we'd go just to snootily make fun of it all, taking great pride in being the first to spot a particularly gigantic belt buckle or a cowboy sporting one of those handlebar mustaches big enough to cover 5 upper lips. But our favorite part was the line dancing. We'd stare, mesmerized by the giant choreographed mass of Garth Brooks fans stomping around in synchronized woohooery with their thumbs purposefully tucked into the front pockets of their jeans. It was so hilarious that we started joining in ourselves, waving from the middle of the sea of cowboy hats to our friends. Watch this. Then we'd stay on the floor for the next song just to try and get that part down where you click your heels right before the spin. Then we found ourselves sneaking off every weekend to merrily line dance our little achy breaky hearts out. This is sort of the same way the God thing happened for me. It started out with much snarkiness and eye rolling, but I was so broke and clueless and sick of being such a weenie about really going for it in my life that I was open for suggestions. Which is why when I started reading books on finding your calling and making money and getting over yourself already, and they all had the spiritual side to them, I didn't toss them in the Goodwill pile with my usual, this God spirituality crap is for suckers attitude. Instead, I decided to give good old God a chance because I had nothing to lose. Literally. And lo and behold, some of it wasn't totally idiotic. So I started reading more about it. Then I started studying it. Then I started putting it into practice. Then I noticed how much better it made me feel. Then I started believing it. Then I noticed all these awesome shifts starting to happen in my life. Then I became obsessed with it. Then I started loving it. Then I started radically changing my life with it. Then I started teaching it. Now I'm basically riding the mechanical bull about it, punching my fist in the air and hollering to the guy manning the controls, hit it. Wherever you happen to stand on the God issue, let me just say that this whole improving your life thing is going to be a whole lot easier if you have an open mind about it. Call it whatever you want, God, Goddess, the big guy, the universe, source energy, higher power, the grand poobah, gut, intuition, spirit, the force, the zone, the Lord, the vortex, the mother lode. It doesn't matter. Personally, I find the God word to be a tad too loaded, and I prefer source energy, the universe, the vortex, spirit, the mother lode, all of which I will use interchangeably throughout this book, FYI. But whatever you choose to call it isn't important. What is important is that you start to develop an awareness of and a relationship with the source energy that's surrounding you and within you, which is all the same energy, and which will be your best pal if you give it a chance. Because here's the thing, all of us are connected to this limitless power, and most of us aren't using but a fraction of it. Our energy is taking a joyride in these bodies of ours, learning, growing, and evolving along the way. One would hope anyway. I suppose numbing, shrinking, and moving back in with our parents is also an option, until our corporal journey comes to an end and we move on. This realization that we're made up of and connected to source energy made me want to have a deeper understanding of spirituality so I could make my physical experience as awesome as possible. And let me tell you, ever since I got into it, it has been awesomeness maximus. She makes up a lot of words. Okay, so I'm gonna pause and check into the chat. Hi, Boma, welcome. Okay, Raka says your mural is so cool. Thank you. Oh yeah, let me talk about my art for a quick second. So I am an artist. I'm in my art studio right now, and I like to go live from my studio because this is my favorite place to be. And so this mural behind me, you can only see half of it right now, but it's called Your Pleasure Is, or My Pleasure Is My Power. And I just have like a whole bunch of like artwork behind me, which later on, I guess I can like show you guys. But hey Florina, welcome. Also, let me like pull up the live on my laptop too, just so I don't have to squint into my phone to see what y'all are saying. Okay, let me pull that up. Okay, handmade. Yeah, so the mural is about like, so my wall, I'd say consists of like, if I had to think, it's probably like 2 yards wide and then 2.5 yards tall. And it took me a really long time. I don't even know how long it took me to paint that, but it took me a minute. It did take me a hot minute. But if you do want to buy my artwork or check it out, I can put my website in the chat actually, which I always mean to do in the beginning, but then I forget to. But yeah, I sell prints of my artwork online, and so if you like my artwork, I do ship worldwide. So I'm gonna put that here. I'll put it in the chat. But yeah, so I feel like this, it's interesting that we're reading this chapter about God and like believing in God, or like source energy, the universe, all of that. Because literally, like I said earlier, I just met somebody who was agnostic, and I was just explaining like why I believe what I believe, and I wasn't trying to like convert this person or anything, but it did make me interested to like think about, wow, there are people who don't believe in anything, and I wonder like what it's like to live life without believing in anything, because I feel like it's that higher power that flows through me, and then I infuse that in my artwork. And I don't think that God is a man, so surprise, surprise, I don't think that God is a man. But I do believe that, like, you know, divine feminine energy and expressing that is tied for us women, like it's tied to understanding how connected we are to not only that higher power, but like the world around us and the ways in which God breathes through the natural elements that surround us, that we are literally like, we have a womb, so like we are connected to those cycles as well. Like we go through the same cycles as Mother Earth. And I think that like when you're thinking about making your life better, it does make it easier like when you kind of like root and ground yourself in something bigger than you. Florina says, OMG, so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you guys check out my artwork. It's on my website. So I have like so much artwork on there, but I am going to be adding more. Like right now I'm working on my wearable art line, but I will be adding like new prints probably around Q1. I think I've kind of exhausted myself for this year, and I'm just like focused on finding ways to share my artwork in person on a consistent basis. So yeah, more on that later. But okay, so we're gonna continue reading. But let me know in the chat like how you guys are feeling about the book thus far. I really like it. I really like this book personally. Okay, so I'm gonna keep reading. We're currently on chapter 2, and yeah. Okay, so let's see, where did we leave off? This realization that we're made up of and connected to source energy made me want to have a deeper understanding of spirituality so I could make my physical experience as awesome as possible. And let me tell you, ever since I got into it, it has been awesomeness maximus. When I'm connected with source energy and in the flow, I am so much more powerful, so much more in tune to my physical world and the world beyond, and just so much happier in general. And the more I meditate and the more attention I give to this relationship with my invisible superpower, the more effortlessly I can manifest the things I want into my life. And do it with such specificity and at such a rapid rate that it makes my hair stand up. It's like I've finally figured out how to make my magic wand work. If loving spirit is wrong, I don't want to be right. That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's like edgy right now, or like, oh yeah, to not believe in anything. But I'm just like, I know we're all human beings. We're all like, unless we, you know, go to heaven and come back, like we can't really say like, you know, but I do think that faith is belief in things and in things unseen. And so that faith can be a superpower if you allow it to be. So I definitely agree with her. So she goes on to say, here is the foundation for all the work we're about to do together on your life. 1, the universe is made up of source energy. 2, all energy vibrates at a certain frequency, which means you're vibrating at a certain frequency, and everything you desire and don't desire is also vibrating at a certain frequency. And 3, vibration attracts like vibration. So I feel like if that sounds kind of woo-woo, it's not. Because think about it, like if your vibration is that of like abundance and things always happen to me that are beautiful and like life is beautiful and this and this, you're going to naturally attract that. But if your vibration is like, oh, everything sucks, lack energy, all of that stuff, or lack mindset and all of that, then I think it's going to be easier to attract that into your life. And I'm not saying that there aren't external circumstances beyond our control. Like I do think it can be a little bit toxic sometimes in the whole like law of attraction, manifestation community, and like spiritual community, where people blame people for things that, well, they could not control that. But you can control what you feel inside. And I think like we all have these inner ecosystems that we're able to essentially control the weather of. Like our energy and our vibration and our frequency is our internal climate, and we can control that and then push that out, you know, and then have that reflected back to us. So I do think that there's a lot in life that can't be explained by logic, and it is just more spiritual. And I do talk about that in my book, Force of Nature. Check it out. And I talk about that, well, subliminally in my artwork as well. So let's continue reading. Otherwise known as the law of attraction, the basic idea is focus on that which makes you feel good, and ye shall find, attract, that which makes you feel good. We're all attracting energy to ourselves all the time, whether we realize it or not. And when we're vibrating at a low frequency, aka feeling pessimistic, needy, victimized, jealous, shameful, worried, or convinced we are ugly, and we expect high frequency, awesome things and experiences to come into our lives, we are often left disappointed. You need to raise your frequency to match the vibration of the one you want to tune into. It's like trying to listen to a certain radio station, but tuning in at the wrong frequency. If you have a hot and sexy date and want to listen to 105.9 slow jams, but set your dial to 89.9 National Public Radio, you're not going to be slow jamless, but more likely you're going to attract a discussion about immigration laws in the US instead of attracting a relaxed and candlelit body that's in the mood for love. The universe will match whatever vibration you put out, and you can't fool the universe. Which is why, when you're vibrating at a high frequency, awesome things seem to flow to you effortlessly, and you seem to stumble over the perfect people and opportunities all the time, and vice versa. As Albert Einstein observed, coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. When you learn to consciously master the energetic realm, believe in the not yet seen, and stay in your highest frequency, you harness your innate power to create the reality you desire. I love that, so I'm going to reread that one more time. When you learn to consciously master the energetic realm, believe in the not yet seen, and stay in your highest frequency, you harness your innate power to create the reality you desire. And I think that our reality, it starts inside of us, because essentially like perception is the operative power. Like that, our perception of what we're experiencing and our consciousness of what we are experiencing, that is our reality. And everybody has, like, even though we're all in the same world, everybody is experiencing a different reality, honestly. And I think that like what she said here about like staying in that high frequency in order to attract high vibrational experiences is so true. I've noticed this in my life, like even when I'm feeling a little bit down, but then I like continue to feed my mind like high vibrational thoughts. And this is why I think like affirmations and subliminals really do make a difference, because it kind of programs your subconscious mind to believe that yes, things like good things are always happening to me. and it keeps you in this consistent state, like this background state of positivity. And I don't know, it just makes life better. Like if not for anything else, it just makes it easier and more fun to be alive. And I think a lot of people need that. Like, I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of like doom and gloom. Like, I mention this all the time, but like it's getting bad. Like, you scroll through the internet and it's just like it's always just doom and gloom. Or I think like the algorithms want us to disassociate from our own lives and like have these parasocial relationships with celebrities and influencers, so we feel like disconnected from our own lives and don't put in the energy into like, creating the lives of our dreams and the realities of our dreams, and we just focus on like what these celebrities and influencers are doing. And I feel like I could go deeper into this, but low key it feels like energy harvesting. And I feel like when you reclaim your energy and you reclaim your thoughts and like your consciousness and like direct that towards things that you actually want to see in your 3D, in your environment, in your circumstances, it makes life so much better. So yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna continue reading. But I hope you guys are enjoying. I like taking some time out every Monday to just like start the week off with reading from a high vibrational book, or a book that can elevate us in mind and spirit. And I think that, yeah, this is like just a good pick for this season. November is like, it's a time where I think a lot of indigenous cultures kind of view it as like this very mystical time, because we're ending the year. We're soon, very soon, we're gonna be ending the year. But it's like, I don't know, things get a little bit blurred, if that makes sense. And I think like we have a lot of power during this time of the year to call into existence that which we want to experience in the year to come. And yeah, a lot of that has to do with the energy. So if you start like mastering your energy, and I think it also has to do with like nervous system regulation as well, but if you start mastering all of that now, then 2026 can be really beautiful and really poppin'. So let's continue reading. She says, so once again, good old awareness is your key to freedom. Once you realize that you can dramatically improve your situation by connecting with source energy and raising your frequency, you can freaking do it already. I'll show you exactly how later. Instead of opting to stay in the stuck hole and feeling like a victim of pathetic circumstances, such as microwaving ramen in its styrofoam cup for dinner, or working for someone who makes your flesh crawl. In order to truly raise your vibration, you've got to believe that everything you want is available to you. And the best way to keep this belief strong is by staying connected to source energy. So, just like a side note, I feel like one of my favorite things to think about is that like all of creation is already done. So it's like, materially speaking, like creation is already here. And so if there's something that you want, it already exists. And like, because it already exists, that means technically, energetically speaking, if you can see yourself having it, it's already yours. And it's just more so about staying in that belief that yes, I can have this. Yes, everything I want and everything I desire is not only available to me, but through my energy and through my aligned and inspired action, I can attract it to me. So yeah, I think that all makes a huge difference. And it has in my life, but I think also why I gravitated towards this book again, and why I was like, I need to reread it, is because there's bigger dreams and bigger goals that I have now that I'm like, oh my gosh, like I really want this to happen. And I know it can happen, I just don't know how. I know when I want it to happen and when I would like it to manifest, but I think it was important for me to like remind myself of these principles. So I hope they are resonating with you. And if you're enjoying this, I hope that you will like the live and subscribe. Okay, so she goes on to say, it's like we're surrounded by this big all-you-can-eat buffet of incredible experiences and insights and feelings and opportunities and things and people and ways to share our gifts with the world. And all we have to do is align our energy with what we want and take decisive action to allow this good into our lives. And this decisive action part is key. Sadly, we can't just float around our neighbor's pool on a raft with cup holders, sipping cocktails, and being all high frequency while waiting for unicorns to fly down from the sky. We have to take action. Hell bent for glory kind of action. The trick is to have both parts, energy and action, working in unison. Unless your energy is lined up properly with that which you desire, really desire, any action you take is going to require way more effort to get you where you want to go, if it gets you there at all. Once in a while, you may get lucky doing one without the other, but if you get very clear on what you truly want, rather than what you think you should want, believe that it's available to you regardless of your present circumstances by staying connected to source energy, and you keep your frequency high and take decisive action, you will eventually succeed. Have you ever had a dream where you're flying and you're having such a blast, but then you realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm flying. I can't fly. And then you come crashing back down to the ground and you can't get yourself back up again, no matter what you try? This is the way beliefs work. Even if it seems impossible, you have to have faith anyway. And the second you stop believing, you pop the bubble and stop attracting the magic in your life. So the force is with you. This isn't just about believing and being all high vibe when the sun is out and the bunnies are hopping around either. This is about believing, even when things are at their most uncertain or absolute crappiest, that there is a bright, shiny flip side within your reach. As French author and fearless truth seeker Andre Gide so aptly put it, one does not discover new lands without consenting to lose sight of the shore for a very long time. This is about believing that we live in a loving, kind, and abundant universe instead of one that's petty, mean, and likes other people more than it likes you. This is about your faith being greater than your fear. So that was chapter 2, which I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that chapter. Okay, so we're going to go on to chapter 3, and let's see, how long is chapter 3? Okay, it's not too long. We're going to go on to chapter 3, and then I think I'll also talk a little bit about my artwork. Or should I talk about it now? Oh, but then I'd have to move the chair. Okay, but yeah, we're gonna read chapter 3, and then I will definitely share more about the art behind me. So chapter 3 is called Present as a Pigeon, and she has a quote by Lao Tzu, ancient Chinese philosopher, founder of Taoism. And he could have been one guy or a mythical compilation of many, because nobody really knows for sure. But I do like Taoism. So let's read the quote. It says, if you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present. Love that. Okay, so Jen Sincero writes in this chapter, I was in yoga class one day, and the instructor told us all to get into pigeon pose, which is this pose where you stretch one leg out behind you, fold the other one out sideways in front of you, and then bend forward and lie down on top of the whole thing. It's fine if you're a pigeon, but it's one of the poses I dread most because my hips don't move that way. It hurts, and I'm always scared I'm gonna get stuck. But even though my body has requested otherwise, I'm in class and going for it, and am determined to relax into it, even though I'm really just silently begging the dude to tell us to change into a different pose, which he doesn't do because he's too busy talking. He's blabbing on and on and on about our connection to the universe and our breath and the path to true enlightenment. And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, will you hurry up? I think I'm going to rip something, I really do. I breathe into it, I shut off the relentless yammering in my brain, get quiet, and surrender. I feel my body shift and go deeper into the pose than it's ever gone before. The pain is gone, the panic is gone, I am one with the universe, but then I realize that I really do think I'm stuck. And I keep thinking, you finally are, but then you keep, I really do think I'm stuck, and seriously, what the hell, dude? Are you going to talk all night? We've been in this freaking pose for 5 minutes for real. And by the way, my knee just got all hot, and you're really not going to be quiet, even though I keep thinking you finally are, but then you keep going, and then whoosh, I reconnect, and I am back in the zone. I melt deeply into this pose, and I feel such bliss and true connection to something much larger than myself. This flip-flopping between freaking out in our heads and breathing into the now is basically how most of us go through life. Instead of worrying about the possibility of dislocating a hip, aka the future, or about how bad I was at this pose, aka the past, I could have luxuriated in the magnificence available to me in the moment. It never ceases to amaze me the precious time we spend chasing the squirrels around our brains, playing out our dramas, worrying about unwanted facial hair, seeking adoration, justifying our actions, complaining about slow internet connections, dissecting the lives of idiots, when we are sitting in the middle of a full-blown miracle that is happening right here, right now. And that's, just a pause, that's definitely how I've been feeling lately. Like, I don't know, I've been a little bit disillusioned with like what I see around me, because I'm just like, none of this really matters, but there's so much beauty that does matter. Like the interpersonal connections and interactions we get to have with people in person, the artwork that is available to us to like create and, you know, encounter in our day-to-day, the love that is available to us. Like there's just so much, and I just feel like I said, like, external programming and algorithmic pressures definitely push a lot of this incessant noise that keeps us kind of like distracted from the beauty of the present moment. So I think she's definitely right that like life gets to be this miracle if we think about it that way. Okay, so I'm going to keep reading. She writes, we're on a planet that somehow knows how to rotate on its axis and follow a defined path while it hurtles through space. Our hearts beat. We can see. We have love, laughter, language, living rooms, computers, compassion, cars, fire, fingernails, flowers, music, medicine, mountains, muffins. We live in a limitless universe overflowing with miracles. The fact that we aren't stumbling around in an inconsolable state of sobbing awe is appalling. The universe must be like, what more do I have to do to wake these people up? Make water, their most precious resource, rain down from the sky? The universe loves us so much and wants us to partake in the miraculous so badly that sometimes she delivers little wake-up calls. Like in the movies when someone narrowly escapes death and is so overjoyed and grateful that they take to the streets, skipping and laughing and madly hugging everyone in sight. Suddenly, all their problems fall away, and the miracle of being alive today in this moment takes over the screen. I know someone who got sucked through a dam and almost died, who now speaks about it as one of his most profound and life-changing experiences. Not that I'd wish that on anyone, but take heart in the fact that should you require some sort of catastrophe for your transformation, it can be cosmically arranged. Okay, I low-key feel like I had one of these moments. Like when I had my knee injury earlier this year, it definitely reminded me of the fact that, wow, like I'm really able-bodied. Like I can dance and jump and skip and run, and I can do all of these things. And like I think I kind of took that for granted until I was on crutches for 2 weeks and I couldn't move. And like even now, like my mobility with the knee, I'm still, you know, there's certain things that I'm still like getting more comfortable doing again. But it just reminded me that, yeah, like this is something I need to daily be grateful for, like my ability to dance, my ability to play. And that's actually kind of why I painted this mural in the first place, as a visual reminder of that. But I think sometimes it's easy to get like sucked into the problems, or like even the perceived problems that we may have, and then also like thinking about, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that, and or thinking about, oh, like I want something to be a certain way and it's not that certain way. So yeah, like definitely it totally like grounded me in this realization that, okay, I need to be in the present moment and grateful for every element of life that I have. And I encourage you to do that as well. So she goes on to say, the universe has also surrounded us with the perfect teachers. Animals, for example. Animals are in the present all the time, and their secret power is to pull us in with them. My friend's dog is so happy to see her every single time she walks in the door. It's like she's about to free him from 40 years of imprisonment. Even if she's only been gone for an hour. You're here, I'm here, I love you, and I'm gonna pee all over the floor about it is essentially what her dog does. Little kids are also excellent guides. Kids get so wrapped up in the joy of drawing or pretending or discovering that they'd rarely eat or bathe or sleep if we didn't make them. I feel like artists are kind of like that. Like sometimes my mom will have to be like, have you eaten today? Like, and I get so into it, like when I'm drawing or like when I'm painting. And I do think that like finding a creative outlet or some type of sovereign creative expression does kind of keep you grounded in the present, because when you're painting, like you have to be thinking about the painting, not anything else, or else you're not going to create what you want to create. And I do feel like life definitely is like that. But anyway, so she goes on to say, kids are constantly creating in a state of free-flowing, concentrated bliss. They haven't yet learned to worry about what other people think of them, or that perhaps they're not as talented at finger painting as Lucy next door is. They are in the moment. There is fun in the moment. End of story. We would be wise to take more of our cues from the beasts and the babies. All the stuff we're so worried about creating and fixated on becoming is already right here, right now. The money you want already exists. The person you want to meet is already alive. True. Excuse me. The experience you want to have is available now. The idea for that brilliant song you want to write is here, now, waiting for you to download the information. The knowledge and insight and joy and connection and love are all wagging their hands in your face, trying to get your attention. The life you want is right here, right now. What the hell am I talking about? If it's all here, where is it? Think of it like electricity. Before the invention of the light bulb, most people weren't aware of electricity's existence. It was still here, exactly the same way it is right now, but we hadn't yet woken up to it. It took the invention of the light bulb to bring it to our attention. We had to understand how to manifest it into our reality. Wow, the music got really loud. But I think that's so true. Like I've heard of another analogy that kind of speaks to the same sentiment, where like we have to become a vessel or a container of that which we want to experience. So it's like, take love, for example. I'll use love because I'm a lover girl. If you want to experience love, like you have to create that environment within you for love to exist. It doesn't mean that love does not already exist in your reality. It just means that you have to become a vessel through which love can flow. And I actually do like literally this this artwork right here is called Harvesters of Love and Light, because I really like wanted to put that like that subliminal message into that artwork. But yeah, it's definitely like this whole light bulb analogy. So she goes on to say, it's not that the things and opportunities that we want in life don't exist yet. It's that we're not yet aware of their existence or the fact that we can really have them. Very, very true. Okay, so she says, the more practice you become at being present and connected to source energy, the more available you are to download ideas and seize opportunities that you might miss out on if you're all wrapped up in the endless chatter in your head. There's a great Hindu story about a lady who wanted to meet the god Krishna. So she went into the forest, closed her eyes, and prayed and meditated on making the god appear. And lo and behold, Krishna came wandering down the forest path towards her. But when Krishna tapped the lady on the shoulder, she, without opening her eyes, told him to get lost because she was busy meditating on a very important goal. When we get so wrapped up in our heads, we miss out on what's available to us right now in the moment. Stop and notice how you feel right now. That's true. Feel your breath moving in and out of your body. Feel the air on your skin. Feel your heart beating, your eyes seeing, your ears hearing. Notice the energy inside and outside of you buzzing. Shut off your thoughts and feel your connection to source. Breathe. Even if you've got bone-chilling credit card debt or you haven't spoken to your mother in 6 years, right now in this moment, you can find peace and joy in that which simply is. As adults with responsibilities like bodies to care for and mortgages to pay, there's some value in taking a side trip away from the present moment every once in a while. Sometimes we need to think about and plan for the future, as well as study the past in order to learn from it or laugh about it or to bury it out back and let it go forever. And if we just stopped by for the occasional visits to the future and the past, that would be one thing. But the amount of time we spend chewing on junk food thoughts about what ifs and how comes, Lord help us. The more time you spend in the moment, the richer your life will be. Being present gets you out of your head and connects you to source energy, which raises your frequency, which attracts things of like frequency to you. And all of those high frequency things and experiences are already here, just waiting for you to join the party. All you have to do is shut up, show up, and usher them in. Okay, so we're gonna keep reading, but I'm really enjoying this so far. I don't really have anything to add. Like, I feel like everything she's saying is stuff that I like always say, and now I'm realizing why, because I did read this book around the time where I kind of had this like spiritual reawakening of my power and just like decided that I was going to go about life differently. And this was around 6 years ago. And so, I mean, you are a badass. Like, definitely check this book out. We're going to keep reading this for the rest of November. And yeah, like, I mean, I'm excited. I'm loving it so far. So we're going to read one more chapter, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about my artwork, some select pieces, which I might have to move this chair out of the way. But yeah, I think, one more chapter, and then we'll move on to that. Excuse me. So this chapter is called The Big Snooze. And she starts off with a quote from Kurt Cobain. Ooh, love that. Like, I actually have a Nirvana-inspired tattoo right here. The In Utero cover. I told my artist to make it like a Renaissance painting rendition of the like woman angel thing on the cover. And so, yeah, I love Kurt Cobain. May he rest in peace. But the quote says, "Wanting to be someone else is a waste of the person you are." Snaps. I genuinely feel like we are being conditioned to, like I said, not be in the present and like disassociate from the blessings of our present moment and like the blessings of our lives, and pour all of our energy and our awareness and our consciousness into what other people are doing. And I see this definitely on social media, of course. I mean, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Like, I feel like there's so many studies about the mental, emotional ramifications of staying on social media. I mean, even though, yes, I know this is social media, but I do try to be like a high vibrational space online, because I do know a lot of people are chronically online. And if I can like bring some love and some light to these virtual environments and, use my art and my books to do so, why not? But at the same time, I feel like even me, I tend to like ponder a lot. I'm very introspective. I think it's because I'm a writer and an artist. But like yesterday I was on Instagram, and I remember like I caught myself subconsciously like comparing myself to this really successful artist. Mind you, I don't know nothing about this person beyond what I see online. And I think I have to always consciously remind myself, like, you may be seeing somebody, but you're comparing 2 years of your work to someone who is like 8 years ahead of you. But you don't know that because we're all like, kind of like on the internet, it flattens everybody's experience into like pictures and videos. So it makes us think that we're all in the same reality, when you might be comparing yourself to somebody who has been doing what you're doing for literally 10 years of their lives, but you don't know that. Like, you don't know that maybe perhaps they were at one point in time in your same shoes, or like at the same leg of the journey that you are in at this moment, but you're comparing yourself to their like year 8 when you're in your year 2. Like, I hope that makes sense. And so I definitely had to catch myself, and it's why I spend so little time on Instagram and like YouTube. I like because I get to just come here, post, share what I want to share, and then like I don't know, just leave it, and like whoever it reaches, it reaches. And I get to like learn a lot. But I definitely agree with this quote: wanting to be someone else is a waste of the person you are. So let's get into the chapter, shall we? And then we're gonna close out for today with the artwork and all of that. Okay, so she writes, when I first started getting into self-helpery, there was lots of talk about something called the ego that confused the hell out of me. I always thought that ego was about being conceited and braggy and all. I'm going to talk on and on about how great I am, and then I'm going to show you my muscles type of stuff. Meanwhile, even though arrogance and conceit, which are different from self-love and confidence, by the way, are part of the ego, they are not, as I later learned, the whole deal. In the self-help spiritual community, ego is used to refer to the shadow self, or the false self, or the self that is acting like a weenie. It's the part of us that is driving the bus when we do things like sabotage our happiness by cheating on our husbands or wives because deep down we don't feel worthy of being loved, or that refuses to follow our hearts and pursue an acting career because we're terrified to be seen for who we really are, or that goes on and on and on and on about how great we are and shows off our muscles because we're insecure and need lots of outside validation that we're good enough. In other words, there's more than one way to go on an ego trip. From here on out, I'm going to refer to the ego as the big snooze, or BS for short. I think it'll be less confusing. Plus I think it's more appropriate since the leading cause of sucking, aka staying broke, dating morons, uncontrollably crying in public because we hate our lives, is that we haven't yet woken up to how truly powerful we are or to how massively abundant our universe is. Alrighty, so moving forward, the big snooze, aka the ego, operates according to your limiting false beliefs. This is the garbage that was stuffed into your subconscious as a kid that doesn't ring true for you, and it is also the decisions you've made about yourself that are less than flattering or empowering. It gets validation from outside sources, like, I'm doing this to win your love, your opinion of me is more important than my opinion of me. It is also reactive in the sense of my circumstances control my life, or I am a victim mentality. It is fear-based and extremely committed to keeping you safely confined within the reality you've created based on these limiting false beliefs, otherwise known as your comfort zone. This is so right, because I think like as an artist, I'm going to bring it back, like I'm going to share a little bit of my experience with this. I definitely had to like go through a little ego death type of thing, which you've probably heard that word, ego death. And I think it's like a spiritual undertaking where we have to face that shadow side and everything that we maybe have been conditioned to think that we can't do, and then like literally do the opposite. And I think I did that when I decided to become an artist. Definitely also when I decided to write my book, like that was certainly me saying F you to my ego, because even doing this, oh my God, this is like, someone could call this like a humiliation ritual, like going on the internet and showing yourself and like showing that you're trying and, you know, showing things that you're trying to do and all of that stuff and like your journey. All of this is like a consistent F you to my ego. And I think like the more you do it, the more powerful you get. And like once you really get to that point of life where you do not care what anybody thinks about you, you don't care if someone thinks you're silly for trying what you're trying, you don't care if somebody is laughing at you for doing what God has called you to do, I feel like that's really when you're able to like conquer the ego. Okay, so checking into the chat, Michael Weather says, Alaere, hi there, understood, real talk. Thank you. Yeah, like it's definitely like I feel like a lot of people have to go through a bit of an ego death. And like there's another spiritual term called, you know, like the dark night of the soul. Essentially, this is when you go through a really dark period of time, and then ultimately you have to turn inwards, and you find that the light has been within you always. And that light is, going back to the whole God consciousness thing, that light within is tied to the expression of divinity that is in every living thing. And so I think it's all connected. But I feel like if you really want to kill the ego, try something you've always wanted to try and share it publicly. And don't even think or ponder about what anyone has to say about it. And the more you do it, the more you get practice at it, you will find that your ego, like, you don't even care. Like, there's times where I'm going to, or I think about things and I'm like, oh, that's definitely my ego speaking. And my higher self is the opposite of that. My higher self is existing from a point of expansion, and it's existing from a point of belief and faith. Okay, hi Michael Weathers. Thanks for contributing to the chat. He said, I love the way you talk. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope you subscribe. Okay, so where were we? Oh, yes. Okay. So the big snooze, aka the ego, lives in the past and in the future and believes you are separate from everything around you. And this is literally the opposite of what I believe. I believe that we are all, when I was talking to that kid who was agnostic and I was explaining like some of my spiritual beliefs, I was like, you know, I believe that we are all connected by this universal consciousness, and all of us are, I'm sorry, it's snowing. Like, I looked outside and I just like saw flurries and I was like, what is happening right now? Okay, sorry, like that took me off guard. But anyways, I believe that we are all basically God expressing God through every living thing. Like, I am an expression of God. The tree is an expression of God. My mom is an expression of God. The waiter is an expression of God. My cashier at Publix is an expression of God. And I think like when you go through life viewing every living thing, every living being as just this extension of you, because we're all connected through that universal divine consciousness, it leaves very little room for ego and comparison and like self-loathing, because you realize that, wow, I'm seeing beauty in myself and I'm seeing that beauty reflected back to me in every living thing. So yeah, just wanted to, you know, drop that little gem, some food for thought. But I do talk more about this in my book, Force of Nature by Demi Castu, so which you can check out on Amazon, or the link that I pinned where you can shop my artwork. You can also shop my book. And I also just launched some affirmation greeting cards, so to remind you of your divinity or to share that gift of love or inspiration with other people. I put that into some cards that infuse my artwork and everything, so definitely check that out at the link. But yeah, like I definitely think that, you know, when you honor the God within and you honor the fact that God created you in the image of God, like, you will not necessarily succumb to the ego as much. And like for me, I think it also lends itself to this humility as well, and like I don't have to, I don't know, I think the ego is like the opposite of humility, obviously. But I think like it lends itself to this humility that like I don't have to be so hard on myself, because not everything, like, it's not always about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes things are about our connection to others, and things are about like us being just a positive contributing force through our life force energy to the vibration of the world. So I don't know, I just like, I've been thinking a lot about this lately, and I think it's because like I always get into monk mode a little bit, and for me monk mode is like deep work vibes. And so yeah, like reading this book is making me think of all this stuff, but also these lives are kind of like a stream of consciousness for me. Hey Reels, thanks for tuning into the chat. So you said, do you read the Bible? And amen. Yes, I do read the Bible. My favorite books of the Bible, I would say, are Proverbs. I like a lot of Psalms, and I really like Ecclesiastes as well. I think there's just so much wisdom wrapped up in those books, and they ground me as well, especially Proverbs. Like, I think there's a lot of spiritual wisdom in those books. So, yes, I do read the Bible. And I am a believer in Jesus. I am. Like, I think Jesus is the best friend I could ever have, truly, because he never goes anywhere. Like, he's always there. Okay, so I'm gonna continue reading. The big snooze, aka your ego, lives in the past and in the future and believes you are separate from everything around you. The true self, or your true self, or your higher self, or your superhero self, also known in Yoruba spiritual tradition, like Ifa spirituality, also known as your Ori or Rune. Just going back because, of course, I have on my Ashe t-shirt, and we talked a little bit about this earlier. Like, it is that, actually, you know what? Let me pull up the like direct translation of what Ashe means so y'all can know. So it's a Yoruba word for life force and affirmation, and it enables change in the manifestation of things into reality. So similar to amen, it's used to confirm that something will come to pass. So that's basically what I said, but I wanted to give like the official definition. But like, there's also a concept of your Ori or Rune, and I think about that a lot as well, because you know me, I always got to decolonize myself spiritually, and I like to think about what did my ancestors believe in, like what did African people believe in before colonialism, and it's all connected, honestly. But yeah, your Ori or Rune, I highly encourage you to go like look that up, and that concept of that. But it is also tied to your higher self, or that self that is most connected to God, essentially. But so she says, your true self, or your higher self, or your superhero self, your non-BS self, on the other hand, is the part of you that operates according to your connection to source energy. See, that's in the same thing. It gets validation from within. So things like, I love and trust myself. This feels right to me. I have a purpose. I am loved. It's proactive, such as, I'm in control of my life. I think I'll head on out and kick me some ass. It is love-based and is committed to creating a reality based on your limitless potential. As soon as you wake up from the big snooze, aka your ego, your true self lives in the present and is not stuck in your head. It totally believes in miracles and is one with the universe. Yeah. We all experience life in varying degrees from both perspectives. And while I seriously doubt there's anyone who's totally snooze-free, most people are so wrapped up in the BS that they're settling for realities that are way beneath what's available to them. Very few people are even aware of what's available. However, because we live in a fear-based society, yes, we do. We live in a fear-based society that loves to get all uppity towards people who wake up from the big snooze and blast out of their comfort zones and follow their hearts into the great unknown. I can attest to this because, I mean, now it's like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. You're an artist. You do art shows. Oh, that's so cool. You're in your studio. Now I'm getting those type of vibes. But when I started, oh my gosh, it was a lot of shade. It was a lot of, oh, you're really doing that? Are you sure? I could never. And it's like, yeah, you could never because you don't believe you could. But yeah, like now I definitely think people are waking up because things are getting kind of weird. Like, yeah, like these are a little weird in life right now. So I think a lot of people are like, wow, you know, how can I tap into that sovereign higher self? Yeah, so it is very interesting to see. But she goes on to say that oftentimes taking great leaps of faith is labeled as irresponsible or selfish or insane. Until you succeed, of course, then you're brilliant. That's what I'm saying. Like literally, like everybody thinks you're crazy and all of this stuff until you start doing stuff and it's like, oh, now it's cultural currency, or now it's cultural capital, or now, oh my gosh, wait, I'm cooler by being in proximity to artists. So now it's valuable. Like, this is what some people, I can tell, think. And I just want to let you know that you should just still go for it if you have like creative dreams anyways, regardless of whether or not people think that you'll be successful, because as long as you can see it, it can happen. But I digress. But she says this is because watching someone else totally go for it can be incredibly upsetting to the person who has spent a lifetime building a solid case for why they themselves cannot. That is very true. I'm obviously generalizing, and there are plenty of people out there cheering us on. That is also true. But one of the first things you might have to deal with when you decide to wake up from the big snooze, aka your ego, and make massive positive changes in your life is disapproval from other people who are snoring away, especially the people closest to you, lame as this may sound. They may express their discomfort in all sorts of ways: anger, hurt, bafflement, criticism, snorting every time you talk about your new business or your new friends. Yeah. Constant remarks about how you're not the way you used to be. Brow furrowing, worrying, teasing, blocking you from all social media outlets, etc. It may sound like this: Shirley, are you really going to quit your secure corporate job to open a nail salon when you've got 2 children, a mortgage, and high blood pressure? So few new businesses succeed, especially in this economy. Aren't you worried about what will happen to your family if you fail? See, like, even just reading that right now made my skin crawl, because I don't make decisions based off of limitation. Obviously, I am someone who respects the scientific method in life, and like I respect, economic principles like opportunity costs and doing a SWOT analysis. Like, there's all the logical stuff that I do when it comes time to make decisions, but there's also that spiritual element of when you know, you know. And when you know it's time to move forward on something, like, you have to think from a point of expansion. Like, I don't make decisions based off of fear, and I don't think you should either. So like, just reading that one where she's like, aren't you worried about this? Aren't you, like, I think you should keep people like that, like, kind of keep them at a distance, because I think there's one thing about people saying, hey, maybe think about all of the factors into a decision. But I think there's something like that where it comes from a place of like just wanting to make sure that you are empowered to navigate whatever may happen. That's very different from somebody just trying to sow doubt and all of that into your plans. So I think if you're going for something big in your life, definitely try to keep people who are very negative and pessimistic away from you. That's definitely what I will have to say on that. Okay. So she goes on to say, of course, in this scenario, Shirley is worried about what will happen to her family if she fails. She wakes up every night seized by panic about it, but she's moving past her fear to create something she's really psyched about, rather than dying a slow, painful death hanging around the water cooler with you, whining about how dry the cake was at the birthday party your boss threw for you in the conference room last week. Even though they're often doing it out of love and concern, having others smear their fear and worry all over you is the last thing you need when you are strengthening your superhero muscles to step out and take some risks. So I highly recommend keeping your mouth shut around people who are going to bring you down. That's what I just said. Like, there's some people where, especially like once you realize like they're just negative, you don't even, like, there's people I just had to stop talking about my life around. Like, I know if someone doesn't inherently respect the arts, they're not a patron of the arts. I don't know the last time they went to go see a play, an exhibit, live music, anything. Me telling them about my art career is just gonna be like, what are we doing? Like, why? So I'm not saying have yes men around you per se, but definitely look at those energetically aligned people as the way to go, and the people who are just gonna like take their own limiting beliefs and just try to wash that all over you, you gotta rebuke it. Okay? So yeah. Instead, seek out those who are already totally kicking butt, or who are lifting up their foot to do so. or people who you know will be supportive and confide in them. Because you'll have your own internal freak show to deal with as you try to overcome the objections from your own BS. The big snooze, aka your ego, is like an overprotective Italian mother who not only doesn't want you to ever go outside, but who wants you to live with her forever. That could also be an African mother too. Her intentions are good, but fully fear-based. As long as you stay inside the familiar risk-free zone of your present reality, the big snooze is content. But should you try and sneak past her to attend the rockin' party outside, your overprotective, controlling mother is going to claw, scratch, scream, bite, hurl her body in front of your rapidly approaching new life. Basically, she's going to do whatever she can to stop you, and it ain't going to be pretty. It's like when you quit smoking or doing drugs, or you go into withdrawal. Finally, you've taken a leap and done something that's going to massively improve your life, and for days, sometimes weeks, you feel worse than you did when you were a wild child. You're hacking up all this nasty crap, ridding your body of toxins, shaking, sweating, puking, wondering why on earth you thought this was a good idea. It's really fun. Same goes for when we rid ourselves of limiting subconscious beliefs that have been holding us back and take a giant leap outside our comfort zone. It's a detox of such staggering proportions that sometimes it can feel like the universe is conspiring against us. Trees fall on our cars, our computers crash, we find our significant others in bed with our best friends, or we get our identity stolen, we get the flu, our roofs cave in, we sit in gum, all of that stuff. When in reality, the ego is just creating chaos in an attempt to self-sabotage and keep everything as is instead of moving forward into unknown, yet desperately wanted new territory. Every successful person knows this and has been through this. When taking great leaps forward, life often turns to shit before it turns to shinola. I realize that this might seem a bit far-fetched, but remember, you create your reality. Norfest says, hi, welcome. And you've spent a lifetime creating the one you presently have, largely based on your limiting beliefs. When you decide to rewire those beliefs, go for what is truly in your heart, and you do a massive overhaul on yourself and your world, you are basically murdering the ego. That's what I'm talking about, that ego death. Like, you gotta just take it and crumple it and throw it to the side, okay? And she's going to come at you, rolling, pin raised high over her head to beat you back into your old life. We are very powerful creatures who create our realities through focused energy, and should our subconscious mind decide to focus that energy at stopping ourselves from taking a risk because it's freaking out and terrified, things can get a little crazy around here. The big snooze, aka your ego, will do everything it can to stop you from changing and growing, especially since you're attempting to obliterate the very identity that you and everyone else has come to know as you. Never underestimate the power of the ego scorned. Sometimes the ego sets up emotional blocks to try and stop us. Other times, she gets physical. I have a client who decided to quit his ho-hum, yet high-paying job to start his dream company from scratch. Oh my gosh, I did the same thing. Let's keep reading. Let's see what happened to her client. He had no idea where to start, what he wanted to do, or how he was going to pull it off. And regardless of the fact that he had a family that was counting on him, no guarantees, and even fewer leads. Okay, maybe I wasn't doing all that. He quit his secure job and went for it because he was determined to create a life he loved. Okay, I totally relate to that. Yeah. That's when the BS hit the fan. He got not one, but 2 flat tires after leaving a coaching session with me. His babysitter ran into his wife's car while driving his car. The water main under his kitchen exploded, and right before his first big deal went through, he got hit by a freaking bus. I'm pleased to report he's fine. But even with all those extremely convincing excuses to say, okay, fine, screw it, you win, he never gave up. Today, he finds himself being his own boss, doing what he loves, traveling the world, negotiating multi-million-dollar deals, making a huge difference in his clients' lives, being creative, and setting an excellent example for his kids about living life on purpose. Oh, I love that. A record producer I worked with decided to build her own recording studio. She put all her money and effort into buying all the recording equipment, instruments, amps, soundproofing, etc., only to have the entire thing burned to the ground almost immediately after it was completed. Damn, that sucks. Instead of closing the shades, getting into bed, and sucking her thumb for the next 2 years, she raised the money she needed to rebuild an even better studio, and is now rocking so hard that she gets to handpick the musicians she works with and basically live out her fantasy life. So, if you finally decide to quit your soul-crushing job and start the pastry shop of your dreams, be not upset if a truck drives through your front window into your scones. Instead of taking this as a sign that you shouldn't have opened your shop, take it to mean that you're ridding yourself of your BS and moving in the right direction. Okay, I think I needed to read this because I definitely feel like I was talking to God today and I was just like, God, like, it's like there's highs and there's lows, and there's highs and there's lows, like in this artist entrepreneurial journey. But then it's like ultimately when I really sit with it, I would not want to do anything else. Like having the time, even if it's 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, I don't even really care. Like having the time to speak to people online and having the time to be able to connect with people in real life through my artistry and like inspire them and, you know, infuse creativity and divine feminine energy and healing into the lives of people who buy my artwork, who support my artwork, who read my book, all of that. Like I think at the end of the day, I think about that and I'm just like, okay, all of the craziness, I'm not even gonna let that get to me. And I remember like, I've made a video about this, but when the gallery damaged my artwork and I had to take them to court and all of that, I remember I was really like, is this even worth it? Like, I'm doing all of this to avenge a painting. And I think that was really a moment this year where I had to really like look at my dreams and say, is this worth it? Like, am I really gonna dedicate myself? Like, do I really give that much of a damn about my art and like about my business that I'm going to sue somebody over a damaged painting? And the answer was yes. And I think like it really did have me kind of rethinking a lot of things. And I think my ego definitely came up because similar to what she was talking about in this chapter about like people going for their dreams and then having like these crazy things happen. Yeah, that's what that felt like. But I think like when you make that decision to just keep moving forward, that's when it signals to the universe, it signals to source, it signals to God, like I am serious about this and I'm going to honor my higher self. So yeah. Okay, so the last paragraph says, growth ain't for weenies. But it's nowhere near as painful as living the life you're living right now if you're not really going for it. If you want to take control of your life and turn it into something as spectacularly you as have the people I described above, stop at nothing. Have faith. Trust that your new life is already here and is far better than the old. Hang tight if the big snooze, aka your ego, pitches a fit. Whatever happens, stay the course, because there is nothing cooler than watching your entire reality shift into one that is the perfect expression of you. Oh, wow. I love this book so much. It's really good. Okay, so we're going to wrap up with that for today. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Also, this is a notebook, so random, I just found it right here. This is a notebook that you can check out featuring my artwork on my website. So I have hardcover journals and spiral notebooks with my artwork on them. But yeah, like I think that, you know, when it comes to ego deaths, when it comes to, you know, just staying connected to your higher self, when it comes to having faith and just being comfortable taking risks, it really is about staying connected to your higher self and that version of you that is connected to God. And I think that it makes everything more seamless in the sense that energetically you will feel empowered and aligned. But okay, I'm going to show you guys a couple of pieces. Let me move let me move my chair back a little bit. But I do have so much artwork. Like, I am so ready to have a physical retail space. Like, it's coming. It's coming. There's just some logistics I gotta figure out. But I have not done a show in a few months, and like, I think I'm just tired of doing like one-off shows, and I just want to have a space that people can, encounter my artwork. Like, I'm like, gosh, there's just so much in here, and even more on my website. But this is one of my pieces called Have You Ever Loved? And I remember when I created this piece, I was thinking about love and intimacy and just the union between the divine feminine and the divine masculine and romantic relationships and how healing and expansive that can be. Here's another piece. Oh gosh, these are so large, Jesus. Okay, geez Louise. So here's another piece that you can check out at my website, but I'm trying not to hit the tripod. So this one is called Feeling Free, and it's just about sovereignty. See, I'm not even in the, let me stand up. Okay. So this one is called Feeling Free, and it is about sovereignty and divine feminine energy and just divine feminine power and standing true in your power and that God consciousness and just allowing yourself to unleash that inner fire and live from that and feeling supported and grounded in the energy of Mother Earth and knowing that the universe, everything around us is always conspiring in our favor. So that was the message of this artwork. And I'm going to show you guys one last one before we conclude for today. And this one is the last piece I want to show you guys. Sorry, I know the light is in the reflection. But this piece is called Harvesters of Love and Light. So this piece is just about being a vessel of that divine love and that divine light to flow through you, and it flows into everything and it emanates into everything that you have around you. So like when you become a vessel for that divine light and love to exist and thrive within, then you emanate that outward and you become basically this inspiration for others, and you become a point of inspiration and healing for everyone who encounters you. And like I said, I like to incorporate this visual story of our connection to Mother Earth as well. So a lot of celestial imagery in the background as well. And so, yeah, Harvesters of Love and Light is also available for purchase on my website. But okay, so basically today's live, I'd say we are pretty much done today, but I think we had a really great read of You Are a Badass, and yeah, I highly recommend y'all check out this book. We currently are on, well, we're about to get into part 2. I mean, there is really only one more page in part 1. Let's see. It's only like 427. So I'm going to read this last part of part 1. So that way, when we reconvene for the book club next week, we can just start off on part 2. And then I'm going to read this and then we'll close out for today. But I just wanted to make sure I showed you guys some of the artwork. Excuse me. So in chapter 5, it's titled Self-Perception is a Zoo. And the quote is from the title of my friend Cynthia's yet to be written autobiography. And it says, "I'm okay, I'm not okay." Which makes me think of a quote from this song by this band called The Smiths. And they have this song called This Night Has Opened My Eyes. And I was listening to it today. And basically there was a quote that said, "I'm not happy and I'm not sad." And that kind of reminds me of it. But okay, so let's get into this so that we can wrap it up. So she goes on to say, I have a friend who is a professional speaker. She's the kind of person who is so articulate, so powerful and bright and naturally captivating that she could be standing at the counter ordering a burrito and I would get all teary-eyed. That's right, no refried beans, you heard the woman. So imagine my surprise when, after one of her talks, she plunked herself down next to me and demanded to know how boring it was. I also have gorgeous friends who think they're hideous looking. Brilliant clients who one moment think they're God's gift to mankind and the next need to be talked off the ledge of self-proclaimed ineptitude. And I have an entrepreneurial neighbor who can't decide if she's a financial powerhouse or if she's about to cause her family to start living underneath a bridge. Self-perception is a zoo. We spend our lives drifting between glimpses of our own infinite glory and the fear that not only are we totally incapable, unworthy, lazy, or horrible, but that it is only a matter of time before someone blows the whistle on us. We torture ourselves incessantly, and for what purpose? If we can glimpse the glory, and I know you can, why do we waste our precious time giving any energy to the other options? Wouldn't life be so much more fun, productive, and sexy if we fully embraced our magnificently delightful selves? It's just as easy to believe we are awesome as it is to believe that we are giant, sucking things. It takes the same amount of energy, the same amount of focus. So why do we choose all the drama? Have you ever noticed how when someone you admire goes out and does something phenomenal, you're happy for her or him, but you're not surprised? You think, of course they did something phenomenal. They're a phenomenal person. But to get yourself to see how amazing you are is like pushing a giant marshmallow up a hill. Yes, there we go. We are up. We are awesome. Oop, we're sagging. We're sagging on the left. Push it up. There we go. We're all good. Wait, now we're sagging on the right. We run around taking one step forward and 14 steps back when it is so unnecessary. Instead, try seeing yourself through the eyes of someone who admires you. They get it. They believe in you leaps and bounds. They aren't connected to your insecurities and negative beliefs about yourself. All they see is your true glory and potential. Become one of your own diehard fans. Look at yourself from the outside, where all your self-doubts can't crawl all over you, and behold what shines through. You get to choose how you perceive your reality. So why, when it comes to perceiving yourself, would you choose to see anything other than a super huge rock star of a creature? You are a badass. You were one when you came screaming into this planet, and you are one now, period. The universe wouldn't have bothered with you otherwise. You can't screw up so majorly that your badassery disappears. It is who you are. It's who you will always be, and it is not up for negotiation. You are loved, massively, ferociously, unconditionally. The universe is totally freaking out about how awesome you are. It's got you wrapped in a warm gorilla hug of adoration. It wants to give you everything you desire. It wants you to be happy. It wants you to see what it sees in you. You are perfect. To think anything less is as pointless as a river thinking that it's got too many curves, or that it moves too slowly, or that its rapids are too rapid. Says who? Ooh, just want to pause. I just made a short the other day about how the secret sauce to being an artist is just honoring your unique rhythm, and what she said about a river, it would be obscene to have a river thinking, oh, I have too many curves, or I move too slow, or I move too rapidly. I think the same thing goes for us as human beings. We don't have to make our unique rhythm. We don't have to tailor it to what's around us. We were created to be ourselves, and how you move and how the rate at which you go is your rate. That is your rhythm, and it's for a reason. It's like that for a reason. You're not going too fast, you're not going too slow. You're just where you're supposed to be. So just wanted to say that. So she says who? You're on a journey with no defined beginning, middle, or end. There are no wrong twists and turns. There is just being, and your job is to be as you can be. This is why you're here. To shy away from who you truly are would leave the world you-less. You're the only you there is and ever will be. I repeat, you are the only you there is and ever will be. Do not deny the world its one and only chance to bask in your brilliance. We are all perfect in our own magnificent yet fucked up ways. Laugh at yourself, love yourself and others, and rejoice in the cosmic ridiculousness. Okay, so now we're done. And next week we will go to part 2, where she says how to embrace your inner badass. And with that, we can, basically end today's live. I'm gonna let some more Palo Santo, but I think that, today was really good. Like I said, that book really changed my life back when I first read it in 2019. And I've been enjoying my YouTube journey so far. Of course, like some days I'm like, man, is it worth it going on live? Like, I don't know. But I think like sharing this with y'all and sharing this with the world, I never know who is going to watch the live replay. I've literally had someone tell me that she watched the replay and she watched the live and it touched her at the right moment, and I'm over here like, oh my gosh, only this amount of people tuned in, like, oh, should I keep doing this? But I think at the end of the day, like everything that we talked about today, like we talked about believing in God, we talked about being connected to source energy, we talked about how the universe is always conspiring in our favors, we talked about owning our badassery, like we talked about a lot of things. And I just feel like it's really important to remember, especially in this time space continuum where we're seeing just how society is inundating all of us in our consciousness with lack and fear and all of this. And it just honestly feels like conscious resistance towards all of these like low vibrational sentiments that want us to think of us as less than. And, especially for women, especially for people across the global south, like people who are from post-colonial societies, I think that we can all speak to what it means to have to like work towards decolonizing our minds and not thinking about ourselves as subservient to like white male standard. And I pour a lot of that into my artwork. It is a creative resistance. It is this divine feminine subversive act for me. And so, yeah, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to have y'all here. And I will chat with y'all again soon. So, yeah, I love you guys. Bye.